it in Yiddish. Oy Chanukah, a Yom Tov Vashener, a lustiger, a freilicher, nicht so noch a Säuner. Alle Nacht in Drehlech spielen wir, frische Salat, Kases und a Schir, Gespinder, Kinder, der Hanukkah liegt an der Wand. Sondal Hanissim, läuft Gott vor den Nissim und Lober, Sondal Hanissim, läuft Gott vor den Nissim und Lober, tanzen in Chor.
Oh, wow.
A lot of Yiddish speakers. in the room.
Hanukkah, okay. Hanukkah Sameach, Shabbat Shalom. I was promised that this was going to be a joyful night with our choir, and I am already feeling both a lift and a visit from my ancestors, who I never got to meet, who would just be overjoyed to hear a little bit of Mama Loshen.
Quelling.
Yeah, a little bit of Yiddish woven into our celebrations tonight. Given that next Shabbat, even though, yes, this is premature, but by next Shabbat we will be able to have Hanukkot beside our challahs. So it feels like this is officially the Shabbat to welcome in Hanukkah, the festival of lights, and all that this season brings, with an anticipation of increasing joy as we move through the rest of this month of Kislev, this month of December. And I know that for all that there is anticipatory joy, I might not be the only one that entered this room with a little bit anticipatory drive to get to the holiday season with everything that might have been on your plate this week, whether you have a student in your midst or you are a teacher and driving towards the end of that year, or anticipating hosting or being hosted, or just anticipating that darkest night of the year, which is in fact coming next week. Whatever it was that you walked. It's tomorrow? Oh my God. All right, okay.
FYI, this is
Yeah.
the congregation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for keeping me honest with the calendar. Clearly, I've been driving a little too quickly into the week to come. It's tomorrow. Wow. All the more so, may we pause, may we feel the twinkling halt of Shabbat's lights before we light many more lights together. Take a breath. Maybe take a moment now just to drop in and take a scan of what in you is already feeling illuminated, perhaps a sense of levity. And if there is something that wants to release, something you walked in with as a to-do or a heaviness that you may pick up again as we leave our sanctuary, but for now, you want to be held by this space so you can let in a little more light, a little more rest, a little more ease. May we each call that in for ourselves and for each other, and continue to let the joy of our choir, this wonderful team up here, and each of our voices together really lend themselves to the wonderful Shabbat, the extended Shabbat, the darkest and longest weekend of the year, and also perhaps a weekend to kindle the most joy that we've been able to access this year as well. I think there's both opportunities. In acknowledging that we are here together for this pre-Hanukkah celebration, I want to acknowledge who I am up here on the bima with, Rabbi Ruth, yay, and Chava Morel, our director of music, and Gabriel Much. We are so happy you are here with our phenomenal choir. What a gift that we have Andy and Emma and Dean as well. Doug, okay. We were making jokes about D names before the service, so that's what happened. But we're so glad that you are here. We have a lot of music to warm up our sanctuary with. And of course, we have not only those of us here in this room, come on in, We still have plenty of seats for those coming in. But we also have friends at home who are lighting Shabbat candles alongside us. And thank you, Jamie, for making sure that there is a through line, there is a connection between this home, this Beth Am, to our friends and our loved ones at home. So I'll take just a minute to wave in our community at home. Shabbat Shalom. And as we wish each other Shabbat Shalom, for just a moment, again with that sense of anticipation, I would love it if you wouldn't mind sharing with each other one particularly sweet memory you have of lighting lights, whether it was with somebody that you care about, or it was a particularly interesting place. Maybe you were traveling over Hanukkah, but some memory of lighting lights that's particularly sweet for you. Thank you. All right, I'll invite folks back. If you did not get to share your spark of a sweet memory of light with somebody, or if you have thought of another one just now, the good news is that there is a delicious oneg afterwards where there'll be a chance for more sharing to come. For now, we've acknowledged each other, our greater community outside, and we also acknowledge this beautiful land that we're on, the fact that our sanctuary rests on the land of the first peoples of Seattle, the Duwamish tribe, and that we have gratitude and we have responsibility to be Shomrei Adamah, to be keepers of this land with respect, with attention and care to this beautiful earth that we're a part of. And with that, we will kindle the lights of Shabbat. And one teaching I love about light, particularly in this season, is that it is never diminished. No matter how many more of us come into this room to share it and appreciate it, the light itself is never diminished, but only increased for being able to spread it more widely, which is a precious thing about that particular resource. And with that, speaking of people who keep our community thriving and bright, I would love to invite up, as we light our Shabbat candles, anyone who has been a part of this community. Rabbi Ruth suggested for 10 years or more, which I'm going to guess is actually quite a few folks in this room. But all the more so, please come up if you have called Beth Am home for 10 years or more, so we can just appreciate that that you've made it and that you continue to make this your home. Thank you. Do you want to light? I didn't earn this right. Okay. Okay. Sarah, Matt, do you all want to light? Or do you want to light candles? You got it. It's going to be good. Thank you.
Sometimes they're too thin.
I know, but you can take it if it's a little, messy. I was right. It was a lot of us, yeah. All right. I know, it wasn't fair.
I will just say, Rabbi Laura, they'll let anyone in here, won't they?
Yeah. Well, no. All that, I just love that there's basically an equal number here, and how blessed are we that there is both, and we love that. Yay. All right. Thank you, Maggie. All right. We light our 2 candles of Shabbat, a third candle acknowledging a yearning for wholeness and return for for all those who are missing family members and appreciating the extra light that we kindle for them. Drawing in the light 3 times, we offer this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you. Mazel tov on 10, 20, 30, 40 years or more, and 50 years, all right. And may it be many decades to come.
And may I just add, I will just say that each of you are like a light on our Hanukkah, helping keep the light of our founders alive. Thank you for being here for 10 years or more.
Indeed. All right. We'll continue hearing from our wonderful choir, a truly traditional Ma'otzor. This is when I remember, just like with karaoke sometimes, I think I know all the words, but it's good to have them up on the screen because we actually, with all those verses, there's nuance and there's ways to appreciate singing along with these traditional melodies that we actually only get to hear once a year. So we'll continue in that spirit with Mi Yimalel.
Israel,
Wonderful.
Yasher Koach.
Yasher koach. We continue with a melody traditional to Shabbat, and also this is a Sephardi tune. I learned that for the first time this week, that this is the Sephardic version of Lecha Dodi, our love song to Shabbat, and we'll sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and then you'll see the cue to rise and face our entrance and just welcome in even more of our community and welcome in more of that joy of Shabbat together. We're on page 20.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Standing as we turn to the Baruch Hu, a prayer that is only and always most meaningful when it's said in a community. And Hanukkah is such a holiday of resilience and a sense of being lifted by those around us and feeling the courage to continue to celebrate our Jewish tradition. And that really feels most potent as we turn to Baruch Hu. We enter into prayer together. Page 28. seated.
So, Rabbi, I wanted to validate your assertion that you made earlier because although
good. Whatever it was, thank you.
although the longest night is tomorrow night, but the darkest night is not till next week because as we get, Hanukkah, right? We get to the 25th of Kislev is the first night of Hanukkah, and as we count the days of Kislev, we get closer to the day where there's no moon. And so we're lighting the candles,
Of
and
course.
the light is growing, And it's once in a while maybe that those 2 days would coincide with each other, but more often than not, the solstice is on a different night than the darkest night of
Truly
the
darkest
year.
night of
But
the
the darkest
year.
night of the year is always during Hanukkah because we begin Hanukkah, a few days before the end of the month of Kislev. So just pointing
Thank you
that
for
out.
that. Thank you for that, Chava.
Yeah, Rabbi, you know what
My
you're
wisdom
talking
is
about.
restored. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And for teaching us. There is more to look forward to, not just tomorrow. Thank you.
Right, and so in those darkest times, this prayer in our service reminds us to look around ourselves outside of our own personal lives to the surrounding atmosphere, the environment around us, and we're noticing this darkness, and it calls us to spend more time together, to spend more time with uplifting experiences like the beautiful music that we're experiencing here tonight, and sweet things and loving things. And so that's what we do all year round. Every single night we come to this prayer where we are invited to look around ourselves and look outside of ourselves and take in the beauty and the ever-changing wonder of creation. So I wrote this melody for the prayer called Ma'ariv Aravim, and it's just the entire paragraph of Hebrew. There's no English kavanah or, interpretation. It's just the words of the prayer. But there is a yalalai part, so please join with me. Yalai, lai, 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 lai. 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach sha'arim uvitvuna mishaneh itim umachalif et hazmanim usader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom u'mevil layla umavdil bein yom uvein layla Adonai tzvot shemo Yalai, yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 El Chai v'Kayam Tamid himloch aleinu le'olam
We affirm, our tradition affirms that each one of us is a whole world, each one of us is a light, as Rabbi Ruth invited us to feel just at the beginning of services, and simultaneously, and a truth that coincides with that is that we are echad, we are one. We honor that oneness that is present no matter how many of us are together at one time. And that's really what the Shema calls us to appreciate. And if it is your custom to rise for Shema, we do so now on page 34. If it is your custom to close your eyes so you really get to hear the prayer wash over you, your own voice with others, encourage that as well. Continue on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
my pre-Hanukkah rituals is to try to find the most fireproof place in the home to put a Hanukkah, a menorah that is still visible. And that becomes increasingly important as my kids are reaching higher and higher up towards lit candles, and it's exciting. But beyond the gymnastics of where it goes, it reminds me of the particular mitzvah of the visibility of lighting candles, particularly in this season. Not just because it's beautiful and it's bright, but was so moved by the words of Rabbi Sharon Brous, who was reflecting on this visibility that the candles in our windows don't just remind us of the miracles of our ancestors, they invite the world into our story. See us, we say, and we get to make our story become more real and more listened to, see our trial, our triumph, our struggle, our survival, our joy. Our story becomes one that is listened to and held with care. Maybe that is one of the real gifts that we get to give and receive when we put that Hanukkah in our window and we let that visibility be part of the blessing. Recalling another ancestral story, that of leaving a place of restriction and moving into freedom and redemption, we sing together the words of Mi Chamocha on page 40.
I just have to add a word. Yesterday, or whenever it was that the kids were here, it was yesterday.
It was all week, but it was definitely yesterday.
We had tefillah, and there were not enough adults in the room for us to get up and dance, and yet they did anyway, and the kids danced around the entire room, and the teachers were filming it on their phones because it was so majestic. So kudos to the kids for dancing. Anyone who wants to dance, feel free.
Yes, I hear that as a challenge, actually, so there we go. Yay.
Looks like you could have gone for another few rounds.
It's true. Well, we'll pour that energy, the energy that got you either clapping or on your feet, dancing and holding hands. We'll pour that energy now into our tefillah, our standing prayer. So once again, I'll invite you to rise however you're able, in body and spirit, as we turn to our Amidah, which will begin all together on page 46, and then we'll also offer opportunity for a hush, for a silent prayer that allows each of us to be with whatever we have brought to this evening.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu Ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav leHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach u'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim beChesed, Mechayeh HaKol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, melech memit, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'neman atala hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Continue in silence, standing or seated, with the words on the page or the prayers of your heart.
Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai
Thank you, Chava. Thank you, our incredible choir, and Gabriel and Emma and Andy and Doug
And Taran.
and Taran. And thank you to Rabbi Laura. Oh my goodness. I feel like this is the first night of Hanukkah, even though it's really not. I feel the warmth in a dark, cold winter night. I feel like Adonai Tzori, I'm standing on this solid rock, the Goali, and I feel a sense of redemption because we're in community together. And so I'd like to invite you, whoever you are, here in the sanctuary this evening or at home, if you are in pain and in need of healing, or someone you love is in pain and in need of healing, we'd like to invite you to share their name out loud. If you're at home, just say it out loud. If you're here, just say it out loud, but maybe we'll do it as I look around the community who is gathered. For everyone we've named out loud and anyone we hold in our hearts, we continue with our prayer for healing, Misha Bayrock, page 253.
Mishe Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before
everyone know a full and speedy recovery of body and soul. Amen. So I don't know what it's like in your workplaces for those of you who work out of the home, but in my workplace, a lot of people have gotten the neurovirus. I'm looking at you, Dara, who is the head of our seed, and Rabbi Laura. We're down. At Temple Beth Am, we're down a lot of staff members because of the neurovirus, which is okay. It's totally okay. Earlier in the week, we talked about what is it we want from this service? How wonderful it is to see all of you here, to know all of you are at home, and to know that we're down by a couple of people because of the viruses out there. And we were talking as a team, and we said, wouldn't this be a wonderful time to share a story about what it means to be in the darkest night of winter? And I said, I have a story about the darkest night of winter. And guess what? How many of you were members at Temple Beth Am in 2019? By a show of hands. Then all of you will remember verbatim the sermon I gave at Rosh Hashanah on 2019. I hear some laughter. Maybe you won't remember, but there was the perfect story for the darkest Shabbat in the Pacific Northwest tonight. Before we enter into Hanukkah, this is our pre-Hanukkah celebration. We are celebrating the darkness. Thank you so much, Chava, for sharing Ma'ariv Aravim with us. And we are going to share how we bring in the light. So I'm just going to remind you, when we were talking about it, we were saying it would be great to share a story about the darkness of winter. And I said, I have a story. I shared it in September of 2019. I want to remind you that the pandemic started in March of 2020. And this is what we talked about. I'm going to share just a little piece of my high holiday sermon, and I'm going to ask a question for all of you. So if you were here, this is the second time you're hearing the sermon, you should have a response. For all of you who weren't here, you're in a Jewish community, you have an opinion. We know that. So here's what I want to share with you. There's a story told about Isser Zalman Meltzer, who was the Rebbe of Mir in Eastern Europe. Reb Isser Zalman always opened the door himself whenever anyone came into his home. Now, given his stature as a scholar, as a leader, as a cis man, this was unusual. Usually in his society, someone else would open the door and bring the guests to him. But he himself said, if someone's coming into my space, I want to open the door and welcome them in. So he always welcomed in guests into his home. But once he had the neurovirus. I'm not sure it was the neurovirus, but that's what we have in seed, so that's what we're talking about. There, at once, he was very, very sick, and he was so sick, he couldn't get out of bed. He had the flu, he didn't get the flu vaccine. It was a bitterly cold night. We don't get those here, but we get really windy and rainy nights. Did anyone else freak out the other night? So it was a really windy, rainy, cold night when suddenly there was a knock at the door. And one of his students ran to the door because he didn't want his teacher to get out of bed to run to the door as his teacher would normally do. And the knock kept going, and so finally the student said, "Who is it?" And Reb Isser Zalman said, What are you doing? It's a cold winter night. It's after midnight. Don't ask who's there. Just open the door immediately. So I would like to suggest to you, this is what I said in September of 2019, before the pandemic was ever even a word in our minds. The world we live in, my friends, feels like a cold, dark night. The hour is late, the wind blows harshly. We just need someone to open the door and let us into the warmth and comfort of company. The Rebbe, this man, recognized how hard it could be for someone bracing themselves against the storm outside, how hard it might be to say, please let me in, it's a cold, dark night, and how hard it might have been for his student to open the door and let him in. It takes courage to knock on the dark, in the dark night on the door, and it takes courage on the dark night to open the door. So here's what I want to ask of all of you. What is the courage that you're willing to engage in to either knock on a door in the winter night or to open the door in a winter night? How are you willing to reach out? And I'm not saying to like total strangers in the night. That's a little different if you live in 18th century Poland or if you live in 21st century Seattle. But what are ways that we can open up doors, whether we want to be let into the warmth or let others into the warmth? How can we help each other? Why are you here tonight on this pre-Hanukkah evening? So my question to you is, how do you help people feel warmer in the cold world that we are in? What are ways that we can have the courage? And this is the teaching of Brené Brown. It takes courage either to knock on a door and say, I'm feeling lonely and I need companionship. And it takes courage to open the door and say, I may not know you very well, but you care about something I care about because you are in this space right now. How do we build community? How do we build a sense of warmth together? How do we open the doors to one another? So my question to you is, what are ways that you figure out how to be comfortable creating a sense of community with others that you don't know? Not just with those of us who may be standing on the bima, but with one another. What's the courage? What does it take to open the door one way or another? Yeah. And just share your name.
My name's Bonnie. I meet my neighbors when I walk my dogs and we talk. And they
And-
brought me cookies the other night, and that's just one of my neighbors that I talk
And
to.
how do you connect when you talk with your neighbors?
Oh, we
walking your
immediately go into politics and dogs and family and kids, everything. They're
What's
just,
the name of your dog?
oh, Stella and Annie.
Stella. Perfect. Wonderful. So it takes courage, but it's helpful when you have an animal that breaks the down. So how do we create community with each other? This is not a rhetorical question, really. We're trying to figure out, how do we make this an easier space to be in? Thank you. So please share your name.
I'm Charlie. realizing that we all have less differences than we do to come together, to make sure we know each other better.
Wonderful. So there's more that connects us than separates us. And at the very least, we're all human beings. We're all mortal. We all may have fears, and we all may have joys. Thank you, Charlie. Anyone else? Thank you. And would you share your name, young man? And
Well-
I just want to say Tom gets bonus mitzvah points because you wrote your name in Hebrew letters.
It's easy, that one. But I think what's hard is to
Just a little closer.
promote a conversation by saying something, but then getting the person you're engaging with, to open up, and then I got to stop talking because I want to hear what's going on with him or her.
Yeah, beautiful. So it really does take a little bit of courage to just start a conversation with someone you don't know well. And I have to say, I'm an introvert. I come from an introverted family. It takes courage to do that, but once you do, then the floodgates open. Thank you, Tom. Maybe one or two more. Oh, yep, I'll get to you in a second. Alec, it's so nice to see you. Longtime member who's back.
Hey, I
so good to
haven't
see
been
you.
back in a very long time, and I am back from Indiana. Hey, guys.
Hi. Hi, Tuvia.
The courage I have is that I'm back this evening, and I want to see you guys, and so I'm here. And
To go back to a place that
and
feels
I
familiar.
really needed to be here.
We're so glad you're here, Alec.
Thank you.
And Tuvia. Both of you, it's so good to see you.
It was really
Thank
important
you for
that I
being
come.
here. Thank you. Thank you.
I've got some things going on with my family, so thank you.
Thank you, Alec.
Sorry.
No,
So,
no.
yeah.
And if you want to go sit in the choir loft, Alec used to be a member of our choir.
Actually, I do, so thank you.
Go sit. I'll take the mic
So
and
thank
you go sit.
Thank you.
And can I give you a hug? It's so good to see you. And I saw a hand. No. I saw a hand this way. Yeah. And what's your name?
I'm Karen, and the couple in front of me is always welcoming to me, and I was invited
Kim and
to.
Louie?
I was invited to
Don't
come.
trust these two. No, I'm just kidding.
I was invited to a Hebrew class on Sunday, and so I'm very happy. I had a Hebrew partner at one time, and she moved to Denver, and so I've been missing her.
So I just want to say, Kim and Louie, when did you guys join? 6-7 years ago. They just showed up, and now they are, I think it's fair to say, and if you don't know them, you should know them, so at the Oneg afterwards, introduce yourselves. They got married this summer. Kim and Louie are the king and queen of Temple Beth Am, so you do need to see them. Is there anyone else who would like to add one or two words? Oh, no, because this is a young person who grew up in this congregation and then a couple of Shabbatot ago became a mom of a Bar Mitzvah student. Somewhere around here. Yeah. No, don't do that. It's on.
Okay, I was thinking about how, in parallel a little bit to when we get somebody to open up, how we have to listen, but also sometimes opening the door and learning to be in silence together and not having to speak.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And I do want to say to you and to Robert and to Michael, Mazel Tov on the Bar Mitzvah that you just experienced. And of course to Jonathan, who did all the heavy lifting. But he is not here because he is a middle schooler who knows what that means. So what I want to say to all of you, is thank you. Thank you for being both the person who is knocking on the door in the winter night and the person opening the door. Some of you have been here for decades, and this is your place, and you feel strongly about it. Thank God. If you didn't care about this place, then why would any of us want to join it? But there are those of you who have just joined recently, and thank you for knocking on the door and coming in. And together, whatever 2025 may present for us, together we're going to create a warm home. Together, we're going to enter into our festival of lights that brings in light in the darkness. So thank you for having the courage to both knock on the door and open the door and create community together. We look forward to the opportunity to celebrate this festival of lights with you, both tonight with how awesome is our choir, but also throughout the rest of this season. And with that said, I do want to just talk about the fact that one of the things that I love about living in the Pacific Northwest at this time of year is how dark it is for how long. It's hard. I'm not saying I love it, because it's a little depressing, but it does remind you that we're part of a universe so much bigger than ourselves. And in some ways, that festival of lights, that festival of Hanukkah, that one little light in the darkness, reminds us that each of us is a light in the darkness. So in this moment, we want to remember all of the souls that lit up our lives. And so in this moment, we are going to remember those loved ones who have died in weeks past, particularly Gideon Abitzur, father of Tali Rausch, and Ami Tereshek, close enough, as well as in the past month, David Snyder, brother of Bo and Judith, brother-in-law of Deborah, father of Lynn, Stephen and Susan, father-in-law of Stephen and Helen, grandfather of Hannah, Lev, Ari, Naomi, Joshua, and Pearl, and Zachariah. We're also remembering Charles Soberman, brother-in-law of Ken Shiovitz, brother of Kathy Shiovitz, and uncle to uncle to two folks, Parvin Rabarad, wife of Christian, mother of Meyer, mother-in-law of Mark, grandmother of Arman, Amita, Setara, Sanam, and great-grandmother of Isabel, Layla, Sasha, Alora, and a sister of Jim and Ben. Louis Shapiro, brother of Lorraine Green. Carol Gendler, sister of Goldie and Don Silverman. And Lawrence Smith, husband of Joanne, brother of Rochelle, father of David, Emily, and Julie, father-in-law of Sakina and Dwayne, grandfather to Sophie, Flora, Owen, Morris, and Hazel. And we also are remembering Mark Applebaum, Irene Bader, Henry Butler, Buzz Cooper, June Droker, Rosalind Ellen Bogan, Rosalind Eulenberg, Natalie Fingeroot, Lila Fishman, Jane Flaxman, Sarah Fisher, Myron Funk, Myron Gelb, Ann Held, Violet Hillel, Sheila Kasperzik, Ben Kessler, Ken Kim, Louis Klasterin, Dorothy Letzen, Sam Levinson, Robert Lewers, Sam Makoff, Mel Magnus, Richard Newberg, Keith Pauley, Benjamin Shekiar, Philip Simon, Jacqueline Sorgan, Eileen Stogard, Gertrude Sussman, Gerald Weinstein, Beatrice Welt, Jean West, Philip Zuckerberg, and anyone that you'd like to include in this time of remembrance. Please say their name correctly if I have said their name incorrectly, and please share their relationship to you. If you've lost a loved one in the last week, month, or year, I invite you to please rise. If you're here remembering your art site, to please rise. And as one community, let's rise to remember the loved ones among us. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yekadal v'yekadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirute v'amlik malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, chaye Beis Yisrael, v'agala u'bisman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam almei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yet hadar, v'yet haleh, v'yet halal, shmei d'kudusha b'rechu, le'ela min kol b'kata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechta, da'amiram v'yamam amen. Yehi shma v'shmai, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, v'yaseh shalom. Zikronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Please be seated. I do want to say a huge thank you to our choir and to Gabriel and Alec. I'm so glad you're in there. And we do take a moment when we can to share simchas, to share joy. We share our sadness at our time of healing, believing it takes away some of the pain. We know when you share your light with others, the light of your joy with others, it spreads it. So, if you have something joyous, thank you. If you have something joyous to share, please do so. And please, first of all, fabulous Hanukkah necklace, and share your name.
Hi, Donna Berliner. My husband David and I have a new granddaughter, and her name is Ariel, and she is the daughter of Deborah and Josh, Debbie Berliner and Josh Rosenau, and her brothers, who are Miles and Ollie, welcome her, and we're thrilled.
Oh, that is a light in the darkness. What's your name?
My name's Taryn, and my daughter, Alana, fractured her finger, and we went to the orthopedist today, and we thought she was going to be out for the basketball season. We thought she wasn't going to be able to play any music for the rest of the year, but it turns out that it's healed really beautifully, and so she's going to be able to do all those things, so we're very happy.
Mazel tov. Anyone else in the choir loft? I'm here. I'm here. I know you all. Alec.
Well,
I am excited because my son is in town, and I am thrilled because he is going to Finland for his first time, and that is a very exciting thing because I don't know, it's
And
just
we're
very fun.
excited that you're back in the
All right.
choir loft. Mazel tov. Wonderful. Yes? If you'll share your name.
This is Ellen, and my simcha is my daughter Caroline is making Aliyah January 18th.
Mazel tov. So in case you don't know, making Aliyah means that your daughter is moving to the land of Israel, the land of our ancestors, and mazel tov to you. That is amazing. It's been her dream. And she's fulfilling a dream. Amazing. What's your name?
Veronica, I just created my membership like last week. I'm gonna do the donation soon, but I have a profile on
You're
the
officially
director
here.
officially. Yeah.
So Veronica has been coming more regularly than people who may be officially members. Just saying, not that we keep attendance, but now you're officially a member,
Yeah.
so high five to you, Veronica.
And then I've been continuing the walks with my mom, like every day around Green Lake or somewhere. It's all somewhere,
Mazel
but
tov.
Green Lake is a nice place.
Perfect, wonderful. Anyone else? Maybe one or two more. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Emily, and everybody who's under like 18 is going to join me in having this one because I work at a school and I have 2 weeks off, and what else means that
So all school employees are happy to be able. Anyone back here? Did I miss anyone? Okay, so for our last one, we'll pass it along
Thank
to
you.
the
My name's
king
Louis,
and queen
and,
of
yeah,
Temple Beth Am, Kim
All right,
and
Rabbi
Louis.
Ruth. This week, amid a whole bunch of great simchas, I received, finally, a copy of a book that I have a 2-page spread in with photographs and a little writing I did. It's a big coffee table book called My Baseball Story. So I look it up. I've been on pins and needles with happiness over receiving this book. So, there.
Mazel tov. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, anyone I've missed? Oh, okay.
I had been sending animal fables to this lady that told me she got nothing in the mail but bills, so I started sending her animal story every week. And so now when I come back to this party where she's a member, she presents me with typed up version of all the stories I had sent her, and they were from, just hard copy.
Oh, wonderful. Well, with all of these joyous events, big and small, we're so grateful that we're all here. I want to say thank you once again to Jamie. Thank you to our shamashim. Thank you to our incredible choir. Thank you so much to Gabriel and to our congregational choir, to our musicians, to Rabbi Laura, who I'm going to invite to come back up here as we continue with our final Hanukkah song for tonight, Ocho Candelicas. Oh, the crowd says, good answer.
Ah
invite Chava to come on over. If you have a shaker, shake it. Because we're going to do this for the blessing over the wine. So page 5.
Raise your
And if you
shakers
don't
high.
know, if you don't know the blessing, that's okay. If you do know the blessing, shake your shaker.
A shaker counts as a prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvrason hikilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah lemikraye kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki banu acharta ve'otanu kidashta yikol hamim ve'shabbat koshecha be'ahava uvrason himchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat
L'chaim. And then we do have latkes and celebration afterward, but we would love to do this in Temple Beth Am style. I'm going to invite Rabbi Laura to hold it. And if you're comfortable standing up, and maybe you can just leave your shaker wherever it might be, and elbow to elbow or arm in arm, let's say the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lachem min haaretz b'te'avo. And we have a special pre-Hanukkah oneg going on in the social hall. Thank you all. I'll take the shaker.